So, I've been playing Team Ninja's new game Rise of the Ronin for over a week now. And I gotta say, I'm starting to really love it. But I really couldn't help but notice all the mediocre reviews I'm seeing. Mostly 7 out of 10s. And is it just me, or do game reviews not really matter as much as they used to? I remember years ago, if a game was below an 8, I wouldn't touch it, and that's mostly because money was much tighter, and you really didn't have any videos to go by except by reading reviews in magazines. But now scores honestly mean nothing. I've seen so many games that got mediocre reviews and then I played it and loved it. And I've seen the opposite. I've seen 10 out of 10 games not really do much for me. But now you just watch a video, if the gameplay looks good, you get it, and you like it. Of course, if I see a game that gets 4s from everywhere, I'm probably not going to bother with it. But I haven't really seen games that bad since really the PS2 days. Except that Gollum game, I heard that one was pretty bad. But just seeing how critics are reviewing Rise of the Ronin, it really makes me wonder if any of them even played the game or gave it a chance. And some of you may say that a 7 means it's good, but to me it's like getting a 70 on a test. It's not that good. But if I was going to give a solid number review to Rise of the Ronin, I'd probably give it an 8.5 or a 9. But if I just went by my first impressions, I'd probably give it a 7 too. But as I played more of the game, it just got a lot better. And that's really important for a game to do. And when you play this game, it's kinda hard not to compare it to other games. And I believe this feels like its own game. But when you play it, you could be reminded of other games. And of course, that number one is Ghost of Tsushima. In fact, it's pretty impossible not to have a samurai game not compared to that. But the combat, in my opinion, in Rise of the Ronin is actually better than Ghost of Tsushima. And Ghost was a game that was just insanely praised. Everyone loved it. And I love the game too, but I think that Rise of the Ronin does a few things better. And for one, just with the combat, with Rise of the Ronin, every encounter and battle is fun. And that's because there's an addictive challenge with it. You're not just mindlessly killing enemies. And because it has a challenge and a difficulty, when you do defeat an enemy, it actually feels rewarding. And this makes it highly addictive. And this is a big part of why the Souls formula works so well. You know, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Sekiro. As gamers, we've gotten tired of games just holding our hands. So we've become addicted to a challenge. And I was actually pretty surprised just by how hard Rise of the Ronin was. I was not expecting that. And the nice thing is there is a difficulty setting. So if it is just kicking your butt too much, you could play on easy. But something tells me that even the easy mode still offers a challenge. But if you ask me, you should really just try normal difficulty once and just see how it goes. Of course, you could always just start on easy and then switch to normal when you're more comfortable. But another aspect that makes this combat better than Ghost of Tsushima is its weapon variety. And I never understood why Ghost didn't just give you more weapons. You pretty much get stuck with a katana. Of course, you did have some ninja weapons, but still. And as we all know, samurai actually used other weapons. They didn't just use katana. And this game just gives you a great variety. You get naginata, odachi, pole arms, spears, katana. You even get some European weapons. There's also firearms like pistols, rifles. You also get some ninja weapons like the throwing stars and knives. And in addition, it also has a twin system. And this is where, for some missions, you'll get a partner. And sometimes you actually get more than one, and they fight side by side with you, but you could also play as them. And you could switch back and forth between characters. So this really makes this game unlike any other. This isn't just a clone like the critics are saying it is. And it just adds endless options of different weapons that you could use and fighting styles. And there's even martial arts styles that you could change. And if I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really a fan of how Ghost of Tsushima did its combat. It had 4 stances that you could switch for certain enemy types. For example, water stance was good for enemies with shields, and it basically just came down to rock, paper, scissors, except you got to choose. And to me, this just seemed like an unengaging fighting system. Your attacks would basically land just because you picked the stance that you were supposed to. And because of that, the fights didn't really feel like an actual duel. But in Rise of the Ronin, every battle is tense. And just the slightest move could be the difference between failure and victory. And this makes it highly engaging and addictive. And this is really how a samurai duel should feel. But one of my favorite things about this game is its choice system. And finally, this is a game that I feel like my choices actually make a difference. And your choices will even affect which characters will fight by your side, and ones that you'll play as. And sometimes you'll be given the choice to spare someone or kill them. Of course, if you kill them, you won't be able to play as them. If you save them, you might be able to. But to me, this is really what games should offer, because it's the main advantage that a video game has over a movie or a show. But what also adds to this immersive effect is that the game has a silent protagonist. And we actually don't see characters like this in games anymore. And for me, it's kind of nostalgic. I kind of miss those days. And at first, like I said in my first review, I thought it made the character lack emotion. But the more I played, I began to feel more like I was in control. And in this world that I'm playing in, I was able to make all the decisions I wanted. And also I didn't have to listen to my character say the exact thing I just read. And that was nice not to have my characters say anything. And they might still say a word or two, but it's not like they're just repeating everything you just said. But it's also nice because you actually get to create your character from scratch. You get to pick their voice, everything, how they look. You can really make your character look however you want. If you want to make your character Kanbei from Seventh Samurai, then it's not a problem. Same with Sanjuro. Make him Toshiro Mifune. And I'd love to just see some people's recreations of characters from samurai movies. I'm sure eventually we'll get some good ones. And it's nice too because you could save them or just change them or create them from scratch again, and you could do that throughout the game. You don't have to be stuck with your character. But you also decide how your twin will look. And I won't spoil it, but something does happen with that later on. And like with Ghost of Tsushima, this game just looks beautiful. But also, unlike Ghost of Tsushima, this game, I believe, looks more realistic to how Japan looks. Ghost went more for a colorful look, but it really wasn't how Japan looks. In fact, it really wasn't how anywhere looks. But running around in Rise of the Ronin, it's just breathtaking seeing Japanese palaces and just buildings from the Bakumatsu era. And this open world is not lifeless like the critics are saying. For me, it felt like a world that was just full of exciting things to explore. There was always something. And the best part about exploring in this world is you could actually find weapons and treasures. In Ghost of Tsushima, you would obtain weapons, but you would do it differently in the game. You wouldn't just find them out in the wild. But with Rise, you could accidentally find something awesome. And you could just find a weapon just by exploring. And because of it, it just makes you want to get out there and look. This world just seemed very addictive. So again, I'm just amazed by the average reviews that I'm seeing. This is not a 7 out of 10. This is an 8.5, a 9. And I feel like critics are not giving this game a chance. And I have a feeling that they're just copying what other people are saying. And it's probably because they have other games to get to. Right now, the market is pretty oversaturated. There's a lot of open world games. And I've actually been playing this game along with Final Fantasy Rebirth. And as great as that game is, and it is great, I still find myself craving playing Rise of the Ronin. And I just feel like the combat in it is a lot more addictive. Same with the exploration. So please do not skip out on this game. This is a must play, especially if you're a fan of Ghost of Tsushima, or if you're a fan of any of these Souls games, you'll definitely like this. And also you might like it too if you're just a fan of samurai and history. The Bakumatsu time period is very interesting, and this game does a great job of just bringing it to life. Anyway, let me know what games you're currently playing. Are you playing this game, and do you like it? Anyway, thanks for watching.